Hello, I'm Cat. I started playing VRChat since 2020, and I also study multimedia design. Yeah, I'm doing this interview series to find out how VR filmmaking works for other people. And today I'm having interview with Seth Cooper to talk about his Furality showcase video, which is Naruto Opening Parody. It's a really cool video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and would you mind introduce yourself again, or talk about your video?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to. Let's see. Well, as you said, hi everyone, greetings, fleshy mammals. Seth Cooper here, and I made the Furality SYLVA Naruto parody video, and honestly, it's probably what I would consider my biggest project in terms of people involved. I mean, it was a very long 3 weeks, I would say. Initially it started out as maybe 10 people, but then I was just like, the longer we went on, I was like, oh, we could expand this. We could have a little spot for a few more creators, and it just kept going on and on and on until we got to about 30 plus. I was like, oh, this is a bit ambitious for me, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I got a few people together. We worked together, and most of the editing and directing was done by me. And we had quite a few talented people doing different parts of it, which we'll talk about. And it turned out to be one of the best projects I think I've ever made.
Yeah, you definitely put a lot of effort into it. Do you have any
For sure.
background in media design or video editing?
I do actually. I studied at Full Sail University, and I graduated in 32 months with my bachelor's degree in digital cinematography.
Digital cinematography? So do you also do filmmaking in real life?
Right, yeah. Essentially what they have you do is I studied and worked from home pretty much through all those 32 months. I had never been to the campus once, not even for graduation. But that was a whole the special program they had, and I'm glad I did it at the time when I did, because that was when the COVID pandemic started. So it was probably the best thing for me, because my schedule didn't change at all. As opposed to everyone else who did go to the campus for real life studying. But yeah, being online, they gave you a month, which is a month for each class. So it's an accelerated course that gives you basically a crash course. They teach you the basics and everything to be essentially your own filmmaker, your own one-person business. So essentially, I have been basically trained to be a jack of all trades when it comes to filming, cinematography, and marketing and all that yada yada yada.
Some of the answers to the questions might sound obvious, but I still want to ask it. So what inspired you to make the video? Like this type
to be honest, I'll be honest, a few years ago, a couple years ago, my ex-girlfriend, she wanted to watch Naruto with me, right? And I wasn't a big fan. I'm not a big fan of anime. I haven't seen many of the all-time AAA popular ones like everyone's seen, like Bleach, One Piece, Attack on Titan, all that. I haven't seen those. I've only seen very few select clips online, if anything. But when I watched Naruto with my ex-girlfriend at the time, it captivated me a little bit. I'll be honest. Naruto is goofy, loud, but yet charming attitude and all that stuff. I'm like, I can relate to this character. He's me. I'm goofy, loud. So I was like, so then a couple years passed since then, and here I am sitting. I had just finished working on a few other projects. I was just finishing streaming and all that stuff, and I had a good bit of free time in between. I was like, what can I do to fill some time here? So I was like, what's a show I haven't watched in a while? So of course, first thing that comes on to mind that is a binge-worthy show, Naruto. So I spend an entire month in between Furality Luma Festival back in February and SYLVA, just watching Naruto, all the story-based episodes at least. None of the filler stuff, because I didn't have the time for that. I was like, yeah, you know what? Just give me all the story canon episodes, and we'll go from there. So then I started watching it, and I was like, you know what? The show is still a bit goofy. It has its ups and downs, but the one thing that always seems to hit home, or a good few times that I would always continue watching for, are the theme songs. And a lot of the theme songs just hit the spot perfectly. A lot of them didn't, but a good few of them did. And that's when I was like, you know what? If I need something to film, I've already recreated a few scenes and other things before. So you know what? I feel like this would be a good creative standpoint. This would be a good creative project to work on, because it's been a while. Naruto recently hit its 20th anniversary, I think last year. So I was like, you know what? I haven't seen a lot of Naruto fans out there, and I feel like, this would be a good way to connect with them a little bit, because I feel like there aren't enough people. I know there's a lot of people in the furry community who obviously love anime, and Naruto falls under that category. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Okay, let's give the people a little something nostalgic. It's new to me, nostalgic for them probably, but also we'll open it up to the idea of a lot of different people who are like, oh, it's Naruto, but also keep it somewhat original. And so I combined like three of my favorite openings all into one video, where I just extended one song that came from my first favorite opening.
Oh, cool. Yeah. For me, I rarely watch anime, but Naruto is definitely famous enough for me to watch it. Yeah.
Right.
It's my childhood memory.
right. So pretty much what inspired me, I watched a Goofy Ninja show for a month and was like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. My next question is like, how do you establish an emotional connection between the audience and the video you create?
I suppose it goes back to, well, essentially what I was talking about, combining a few of my favorite openings from the show, because I know the song that I used was Bluebird, which was, I believe it's the third opening of Shippuden, or maybe I'm not entirely sure. Well, it's one of the openings, and it's like it starts calm, and it's like, oh, you're remembering all this bad stuff that happened, and you're hoping to see what's next and all that stuff. But then it just wham hits you 10 seconds later with this big dramatic and all this falling part. It's like, all right, boys, where we drop? I'm just like, this is so cool. I like the skydiving stuff, where it's like all jam-packed and hyped, but also having a sense of, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Is it gonna make it? And then it shows all the people you come to know and love, and it's like, yeah, these characters are all here. This is gonna feature them a little bit, everyone, a little bit of flavor for everyone. And then it drops into that action-packed scene, because of course, anime, you gotta have action everywhere. And for me, personally, I like a lot of high-speed stuff. I grew up playing and watching Sonic and all that stuff. So I'm very high-speed action oriented, Sonic, Spider-Man, all that stuff. So I'm all about that stuff. So when it includes this really good melody of a song where it can repeat, it gets a little repetitive with that chorus, but that just makes my ADHD little brain dance with happiness as I'm watching all these cool fight scenes going around. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. So that so I was like, you know what, that honestly fits my style. It's like, yeah, it's like I like high speed action, but I also like a good melody. So I was like combining these things two together, and boom, that's what it makes. And I was like, okay, well then we got these two other intros that I really like. One being the opening and visuals to New Song, which was one of the more goofy of intros. But again, it was super over the top. It was goofy. It was funny. It was hype. So I figured that I'd put that in for a little bit of comedy, because I like to make people laugh. I like to make people laugh with a high-speed action and throw comedy in there. I'm like a Marvel movie. But I wanted to throw that in there, and then of course taking it a little further down the lane to make people a bit more nostalgic or a bit more hype. We have these characters where it was towards the ending of the show, where they had one of their final. I think it was the final one, the silhouette. I think it was. No, that wasn't the final, but it's one of the more iconic ones, one that's used in memes nowadays, of just people running fast and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's cool still. But it had, again, very cool visuals, very hype build up. Like, these are all these characters. They're gonna fight. It's gonna be the ending. It's gonna be so hype. Oh my god, who's gonna win and all that stuff. I was like, it's at that point where it's like, yeah, let's do a flashback of how these characters grew up 50 times before the finale or during the finale. So that's also what I went with. But in a 2-minute segment of an intro, that's perfect, because I felt like that'd be cool, because it shows like, oh yeah, a little time skip shows you some subtle but relatable lore. And also just got to showcase more creators that I liked, and it opened it up more. So I wanted people to have also that a moment where they're watching and they see someone they know from TikTok or streaming or something like that on screen. They're like, oh, it's the guy. It's the guy. I know that guy from TikTok.com. But working with everyone was really fun. Everyone was such a good sport about it. And everyone was super on board and hyped for it. They loved the idea. So
Yeah.
Essentially that's what I wanted to make.
Yeah, one benefit of making a parody is that the video can make more people feel relate. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's talk about the making process. Not sure if you've answered this question before, but did you start making the video after the showcase was announced?
Yes, because I made a server titled Seth's Furality Showcase, but I had no idea what to do with it, because I had no idea what I wanted to make at the time. And so that was also during the month I was binging Naruto. I was like, well, I can't just do Naruto or something like that. I was like, that's too obvious. But then as I was thinking, I was racking my brain. I was like, I can't come up with anything at the moment that I can't quite nail down in time, because a lot of ideas that I did have were ideas that were going to take way too long, and we only had like 2 months once it was announced. Or yeah, about 2 months, about 2-3 months. I was like, yeah, no, the ideas that I had were not going to cut it in 3 months. And it was like, I had to make something special, short, but doable up until the moment I start it to the moment I finish. And then as we went along, I was like, you know what? Why not Naruto? You know what? Why not? I need something. I want to make something. I don't want to say I skipped it because I couldn't think of anything. So as I was finishing the series, I was like, you know what? Naruto, let's go.
Just do it.
Exactly. Long story short, don't overthink it. The second you get an idea, and if it obviously if it's not offensive, but the second you get an idea and you want to do it, just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it.
Yeah. Let's talk about filming. So, do you have anyone help you controlling the camera?
I had a few people actually teach me most of the camera a good bit of the camera was my work. Actually, I think all the camera work was my work. I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. So while I did record everything, I did have a few people teach me a few camera tricks with VRChat. I want to say Kip Kingdom, one of the hosts for Furality. He told me about the transparency thing I can do, or the green screen thing where I can go into OBS, pull up a scene, make it VRChat, and allow transparency. Pull up obviously the streaming cam or VRC lens, whatever you use. Put on no background, transparency, whatever. But instead of relying on VRChat's or VRC lens green screen, put whatever color you need as a scene below VRChat in OBS. So that way, say you have someone whose color is green or blue, and you don't have a color on your camera that fits that. Well, now if you change the color in OBS with the transparency on, you get no bloom. Bloom is a big issue when it comes to green screen in VRChat. So you turn down the bloom in VRChat, but you put on the color that you want to key out in OBS, and that you key it out in post editing, and it's almost perfect, honestly. A little bit of tweaking here and there, but as long as it's like completely opposite on the color wheel to whoever you're recording, it works perfectly. I was like, oh my god, why didn't I think of this? Kip, you're amazing.
That is a nice trick. Yeah. Yeah. Oh
yeah, that was definitely a big help.
And have you is this your first short film you made?
No. I've had a couple. I've had a couple actually. My first one showed up, I believe it was Legends. My first one showed up in Legends when they first started doing the community showcase, I believe. I could be wrong. But that was my first one. And they were showing off a bunch of stuff, and they were like, yeah, you know what? I was like, all right, let me throw my hat in the ring here. So I threw in a TikTok I made recently that was Venom. That was a short little Venom thing. It was like 10 seconds, I think. But it was a superhero theme, so I was like, yeah, you know what? This would be perfect. So that was my first one, was during Furality Legends. That one got a good bit of traction. Then next one, I was like, all right, they showed it off, they liked it. All right, let's go a little bigger. Let's go a little bigger here. So then Aqua came around, and I was like, okay, let's see, what's another piece of media I'm enjoying recently that may or may not fit the theme. And it didn't fit the theme of Aqua at all, but it did fit Legends, and I wish it had come out when Legends was, but it didn't. But it still made it in during Aqua, and that would be my Spider-Man or Spider-Fur's No Way Home remake,
yeah,
where we
I remember that.
Yeah, we remade the scene of them all teaming up. I was like, guys, this isn't working. We got to team up. I love you guys. All right, let's go. And then they all swung around, and that one I felt really good about. None of us had full body at the time, except for my friend Sebastian, who is pretty much our full body stunt double for everything: the running, the diving, the swinging, all that. And so I was like, okay. I was like, this is cool, but I can't rely on my friend Sebastian all the time. I gotta get full body if I want to make the next projects that I work on bigger and better and all that stuff, because I never know when he's available. I'm always available. So I was like, all right, full body it is. So I started getting full body and all that stuff. I was still on an Oculus Rift S at the time. So that was a task enough as it was. But we made that. That was really fun. And then here comes SYLVA. I was like, all right, I want to go big. I want to have another recreation. I want to go big. Don't know what to make. Naruto. And then I was like, okay, there's only like about just 10, 12 people in this intro. Then I started looking at more intros. I was like, I can feature more creators. I can make the song longer. It's a 2-minute max. 2 minutes or 2 minutes or slightly over. I was like, all right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Come on, more of you. So then we started getting it bigger and bigger, and then I bring on my friend Movie, who's an awesome animator. He has a style. He was also in the showcase with his God Eater intro, that whole anime intro where he animates his footage with special effects and all that. I was like, Novi, help me with this. You're an anime guy. You love anime. You love animating. Come help me. So then he's immediately on board and helps me animate the big old laser blast. And I'm just like, you did so damn cool with this. I love you. So it's like each one that's why I love Furality showcases. Cause I completely forgot about not Aqua. For the MFF showcase. The MFF showcase. That was when I had my my Spider Fox music video where my friend Kubi helped me. I commissioned my friend Kubi, who's an expert in Blender, to import my Spider Fox Sona into the Spider-Man PC game, replacing both Peter Parker and Spider-Man with a few different variations all throughout the story mode. I was like, okay. Brim comes to me and asks, he's like, do you want to replay your No Way Home scene for MFF showcase, or do you have something else? I was like, oh, let me slap this music video in there real quick. He goes, it's not really VR. I was like, yeah, but it's my VRChat avatar. He's like, okay, fine. I still want you in. So he had to bend the rules just slightly for that one, but I think since then they added a new rule. It's like it has to be VRChat. It can't be much of anything else. I was like, okay. So if you guys have an idea that you want to mod and turn it into a music video for Furality and you can't, or if it's against the rules, my bad, I'm sorry. But essentially, yeah, that's what that happened. Yeah. That all happened, but I like it because I get to see the progress and how far oh my god, how far I come in each project, and how my editing is getting better and better, and how more and more ambitious I get till I'm passed out on the floor from exhaustion.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah, video editing can be really hard. With that many characters in an anime and that many actors you found, how did you manage to make them work with each other?
So what I did was I scheduled them. I had this big old server. I categorized them between who was on the hero side, who was on the villain side, and then I had this roster of characters from the openings. I was like, all right, y'all, here's who I'm gonna be, these two characters. You are all free to pick and choose which character you want to be, and I will write you down as that character. So then everyone got their characters chosen, who they wanted to be, what part. A lot of them did not know which character was. So I was like, all right, just send me a screenshot and an arrow pointing to which character you want, and I'll know. So then they did that. I put them as their respective characters, and then we would go scene by scene. I would schedule each person who was in that scene for a certain date and time, and that actually went pretty smooth. And surprisingly, because a lot of times whenever I schedule a video or a plan or something like that, it usually goes awry. A lot of people skip out or just decide to back out last minute. So I was very hesitant on this. But I decided, you know what, let me just give it one more go. It's a new group of people I'm working with and a bunch of creators, so you know, maybe they'll be good and stick to a schedule, unlike other people I've worked with. So then they do. And I was just like, oh my god, you guys can follow a schedule. I love you guys.
Hey.
So then that all goes pretty damn smooth. And last day, the last couple days where we need the big old group shots where the camera's like panning right at the end of the song of like every different group.
Yep.
That's when I categorized people into heroes and villains, because I was like, all right, I'm gonna have a set schedule date, because I would before that I would ask everyone, you know, I would say like groups of 3 and all that. I would say like, all right, everyone write down the time that will work best for you and we'll compromise. Everyone did that again very smoothly. That went almost without a hitch. And so then here comes the big old group finale shots. And so I get everyone together. I'm like, heroes, villains. All right, villains, here is the set date for you. I know not everyone can make it because we had like 15 people basically on each side. So I know getting that many together is going to be a pain in the keister. So I was like, okay, let's get everyone here. Every villain who can make it. This is the day we're filming. And a good bit showed up. And I was like, heroes, this is the day we're filming. And they all showed up. And then I was like, all right, one big group together. Everyone from each side. Come in as much as you can, because we are going to get this big old group shot for the credits and possibly a few other shots. So we got that, and obviously not everyone showed up, but you know what? It was still a really good turnout. Most of them did show up.
It worked.
And it was it worked. Even right at the end, I knew, because if you look in the end credits, we have an even amount of people on both sides, like one person matched and mirrored everyone. I was like, at first we didn't have that. But at the end, almost as if some kind of cinematography miracle, a couple friends requested to join off me. I believe Pixel D and Venom. They requested to join off me. I was like, all right, get in here. We need a couple more. Come here. So I brought them in. They have no idea what they're getting into. So I quickly explained to them, I'm like, we need a big old finale shot for this showcase video. You're in it now. Come on. They're like, oh, shit. Okay, here we go. So they were in it. They were all excited in the moment. So I got them. And it turned out really well, honestly. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a smoother process, getting such a big group of people together and all that stuff for such a big ambitious project where everyone has like 3 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. What is the or what are the hardest shots in your video?
Oh man, the hardest shot that I knew that I struggled with personally was the skydiving part right in the beginning, because I have a very toxic perfectionist trait where it's like, oh, I want to recreate this almost 1-to-1. So here I was filming and doing the skydiving part where he like the falling part was easy, but it was the part where he's upside down and he twists and turns and gets himself upright, like he almost does a spin and then a backflip, and suddenly he's upright facing the other direction. I was like, how the heck do I do that? In one move, how do I do that? So I was looking at the scene, I was playing it back slow motion frame by frame, and I recorded it maybe on three different occasions. And every time I would get closer and closer to getting it, but I could not get it to a satisfying place where I was like, okay, yeah, that's good. So we got to a point where I brought Kip back on again when this is when he showed me like midway through production the OBS chroma key trick. So I was like, you know what? I'm still not getting this right. Let's try something and, instead of recording it, take pictures frame by frame.
Yeah. Stop motion.
So in the end, I had like we made it like stop motion pictures. So by the end, I had like 60 different pictures and I still couldn't get it to look right. So I was trying all these different things like motion blur, smoothing, blending, and all that stuff. Still couldn't get to. I almost tried animating it myself. I realized I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to do that after I finish the first frame. So then in the end, I was like, okay, let's try one more thing. Kip, clone me, be me, and do. I narrowed it down to it's 3 separate moves. So I was able to record it, and while he was in me, I was my large Cooperama avatar, and I was panning the camera as he was doing these moves, and it was easy to get him because I didn't have to move my whole body, rather than because I was such a large avatar, it let me just, move my hand like a rainbow around him, panning shot. So I got that easy enough, and I put them all together, and thankfully with some good old editing magic, used clouds. Since it was skydiving, I wanted to put a few clouds in the foreground to hide the fact that he was switching movement. I was like, okay, that works good enough, let's go with that. Yeah. So then, exactly, I always worry about what's in the background. I always forget how I can edit the foreground to hide things too in post-editing. So that was a big aha moment for me. And second hardest shot to get was definitely the laser blast, the big old 3-team laser blast, because obviously because of latency and timing and all that stuff, we couldn't get the 3 of us to all move at the same time in one direction. That is all post-editing there. I shot each of us one at a time, and brought it into post-editing, each doing the same moves that we recorded and all that, and layered it all on top of each other, green screened it, and it was all post-editing, cropping, green screening, and all that fun stuff, all that composition work. And that was the big part that my friend Novi animated. It was just because I had no idea how I was gonna do that. We didn't have any assets for that, so I was like, Novi, animation, the big old laser blast. You go with that. Come on in. So I was like, okay, man. So he worked on that from the moment I brought him in and got the shot and gave it to him. He worked so hard on that, and honestly, big props to him. He's amazing talent. He's completely undiscovered, underrated, and just an absolute lovable being. Love him. And let's see. Last final shots that were hard were the fighting scenes. Like, say, for example, me fighting Lucifer.
Yeah.
That was actually body doubled by Legend. I believe it's 50212 on Twitter. And he's been going around. He's been making a good rounds, showing off how he's learning fight choreography in VRChat and all that stuff, dealing with latency and all that stuff. So he came in with a few ideas during those scenes. 'Cause I was like, you know what, we have a good few fighting scenes. I've seen you on Twitter with a good bit of fight choreography going on. You're making some cool stuff. Come help me with this. He was like, okay, I'm in. So we started doing that. He body doubles Lucifer and a couple others, and he teaches me a cool trick where if one person's filming, the person you're fighting or your partner, whoever you're working with in the scene, can use their VRChat camera since everyone can see it. The lens, at least, he decided to use that as a marker. So say for that shot where we're both coming in and hitting each other on the elbow, right here at the tip of our fists would be his camera where he has as a marker to use for both of us. So that fixed a lot of where to hit, and then obviously the timing, we calculated where we are in the world, what our ping was, and we would give it a good solid second because of VRChat latency to process our voices and all that stuff, where we would say 3, 2, 1, go. One of us would say that, and then we would wait a whole second and then go. Because we know all that matters is what whoever is recording, it's whatever they see on their end. Because obviously the partner who you're doing it with isn't going to be synced up on their end,
Yeah.
but whoever's recording, that's what matters, because that's what you're going to see in the end. So that's how we did those shots, and that was really cool. He did me fighting Lucifer. He did he did Ronnie's avatar in the beginning when he was spinning that big old scythe blade and all that stuff. He body doubled me during the big old spinning fight scene where with me and Ronnie fighting with the knives and the scythe and all that. That was his doing. He body doubled that whole scene, recorded those separately, red screened them both, and recorded a separate background, put them all together, timed it. The timing was way off. That took a lot of time with the synchronization and stuff like that to process, to make it actually look like, you know, dodging and all that stuff.
Green screen.
What was that?
Is that recorded on location or with a transparent background?
We had we couldn't. This was before I figured out, or before Kip told me about the OBS screen and all that stuff. So we found this world in VRChat that had a bunch of different color screens, because I couldn't do green screen because of certain things that were on the avatar, like the scythes. They were like a teal bluish green. So I was like, if I do green screen, it's gonna cut those out, and they were transparent. Same with my knives, the energy on the ends of them. So I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work green screen. So closest thing we found was a world in VRChat that had multicolored different boxes you could go in of keying, which would also allow me to spin around and get those shots too. So that's what we did for that before Kip told me about OBS transparency.
Really cool tricks. So what program did you use for editing or special effects?
Pretty much all I used for editing through and through was DaVinci Resolve. I had an idea to use Premiere Pro, but a few of the recent updates made it extremely laggy on my PC, where I couldn't watch it for more than 3 seconds without the video freezing and the timeline getting all screwed up. I was like, all right, let me just stick to what I know now, which is DaVinci Resolve, which I've been using for about a year since I graduated Full Sail. So I started using DaVinci, and one of the things I really love about it is it's like everything in one program, whereas Adobe you have Premiere Pro, but then you also have After Effects for compositing. And while you can still do it in Premiere Pro, it's not as reliant or what's the word? It's just not as good or like user friendly as it was. I was like, you know, I need this done on time with something that I can easily wrap my head around. And DaVinci Resolve is like everything in one package. You got lighting, you got color, you got your base editing, and composition and special effects all in one. So I was like, you know what, this is perfect. So then that's when I started doing all the background, foreground, and all that fun little special stuff, right? Put these special effects in, have them move and blend into different pieces in the background where normally you wouldn't find them in a VRChat world. So I was like, you know what, DaVinci is good. It's good, if not better than Premiere Pro in my experience. So I was like, you know what, and it's free too. Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
You can use a lot of the free stuff. Like, you have the free license and all that stuff. You can do so much with it. That's what I did. I don't have the full license, and I was able to make this video. I was like, do I even need to? It's like, obviously, like, yeah, you can buy the full license and get access to more stuff, that effects and all that stuff. But with the free one, you can even make your own special effects and compositing and all that stuff. So I was like, I don't need the full version. If I can make my own stuff, my own effects with the free version, thanks to YouTube tutorials telling me how, you know, why buy the free version? This was good. This was perfect. It got everything done on time. So DaVinci Resolve, highly recommend all the way.
Yeah, a couple of people I interviewed also use DaVinci Resolve, and I've used it before, but I think I should give it another try. Yeah. Oh,
Right.
Oh, and I forgot to mention is when you talk about adding clouds in the foreground in the opening, that not only helps you hiding those cuts. It also can make the audience that feel like your character is moving really fast, like because those clouds are just very fast. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Because you were supposed to get that feeling of like, weightlessness, freedom, falling, skydiving. Oh my god, there he goes. Where are we dropping, boys? So, it's like a few cloud coverage, and which is done in the original opening anyway. And I was like, oh, okay, that's how they probably do it anyway. So let me get a hand of that. Google image, transparent cloud. There it is. So I grab a few of those and just blow it up on the screen and just have it to where it's like so big that it covers the whole screen, and just have it pan up and pass by to where I cut to the next shot right in the middle of where it's covering the full screen, to where it looks like, it was never shown. It never happened.
Are you planning to do anything like this in the future, or are you working on something like this currently?
I do have a few projects in the works right now. I want to take the I'll say it right here, right now, all the cutscenes that are in my Spider Fox mod for the PC game. I want to do a bit in VRChat, a little bit of a prologue in VRChat of how he got into the game, how he got into that universe, and then take all the cutscenes, find a cinematic camera mod I know exists for the game, and essentially make my own new custom cutscenes with the dialogue that exists in the game, and essentially make it almost one big movie, hopefully.
Wow.
Where it can be, because the game is very long. If not one big movie, then maybe what Netflix does and makes a 10-hour movie but splits it up into 10 episodes. But essentially, yeah, that's one thing I want to work on. I want to get back into streaming. I want to get back into avatar commissions and 2D art and all that stuff. And hopefully along the line, I don't have anything planned right now for the MFF showcase of Furality, but that's still months away. I got time for that.
Yeah.
So I know I'll come up with something, but definitely I love doing scene recreations. That has definitely become my forte.
Same.
Because it's almost like I continue on my study from Full Sail, because that's what they had us do. They had us study all these scenes, all this basically science and cinematography math that you just add up to what makes a scene rememberable and just a good scene overall, and what it takes to make a movie. So by doing these recreations that I've been doing, it teaches me new ways of editing and how they do certain shots, what I can do and how I can incorporate into my daily process of editing. And it's an overall, like, I'm continuing my own study by recreating these scenes and doing it all myself and having all these aha moments. So that's what I really like about all these scene recreations, because I know a lot of us are like, this movie or this scene would be a lot cool, but what if they were furries? So that's what I wanted to deliver. I want to give a little give back to that for the community. Be like, you know what? Here's this scene that you all know and love, but now it's with furries.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. How did you get the idea to make the scary movie Tatum replacement?
So about the idea, it's kind of similar as you. I'm working all by myself, and I think it's probably a better idea to do some kind of parody. And before making this Tatum video, I already put the Titan avatar in a couple of movies and post those videos on Twitter, and someone left a comment below saying that, hey, you should probably put your Titan into the movie Scream. And I've actually thought of this idea before the comment, before that person left the comment. But then I was just like, I'm not so sure about that. It seems like a good idea when you first think about it, but then I just like, wait, I'm not sure if it actually works because the entire the music and situation that which the character was in the movie is so serious.
Right, yeah. I will say, everyone in my instance, when that one came on the showcase, we we were laughing so hard at that one. We could barely hear the dialogue. There were so many. There was like, I think 30 of us in one instance, and we were all just laughing so hard just at every little shot of the Tatum. We loved it.
Yeah, and I think the style
Yeah,
is
no, that's really cool though.
also unique enough because I don't think there are many people doing this kind of style, mixing VRChat avatars with live footages. Yeah. And
Right. Yeah, no, that's a very unique style, because it reminded me almost immediately. Recent movie I saw was that reboot Chip and Dale movie that came on Disney Plus and all that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is almost exactly reminiscent of that. And then the next thing I was like, it's a very Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of mix of live action and animation. I was like, this is so unique. We don't see a lot of this. You know, because one, the budget is usually through the roof on those kinds of movies. But it's still just a brand new unique style that we honestly is underrated. We don't have enough of that. And the fact that you were able to do it and bring it is just honestly really amazing. Honestly.
Thanks. Yeah. Then I did every special effect in After Effects. I shot I created a green screen world just to bring those assets into the worlds, and yeah, so I can use it. Yeah, it's easier than just attaching the object onto your avatar and adding toggles on your avatar and those kind of things. Yeah. And I think that's it. All of my questions have been answered. Yeah, thanks for joining the interview.
Yeah, of course. Hope I was able to be slightly entertaining.
Very entertaining.
I know I talk a lot.